Technology is advancing faster than ever, and human beings are able to see innovation in ways that we never even imagined, largely due to the focused push to explore the world of AIs. From self-driving cars to prototype robots to help with day-to-day tasks, it's fair to ask the question, will this advance the race or just slow us down? Why are we seeing such a rapid rise in AI technology? As bandwidth options improve, so will AI technology, or at least that is what Elon Musk once said about the topic. AI is becoming an increasingly common point of research, especially at companies like Facebook, Tesla, and Apple, along with others in the software or hardware businesses, which can be a divisive issue for many out there. Some love the idea of robots that will help out and allow you to focus on your interests instead of your chores. I mean, just look at the rise in popularity of the Alexa or Amazon Echo. Others, meanwhile, are concerned about losing their privacy, and even what they could do to defend themselves if they were somehow attacked. What would the world look like? At least for the first few years, it probably wouldn't be a very common occurrence for the average person to even see these AI robots, since their price point will keep them pretty rare, much like the self-driving Tesla cars. For as much as the rise of AI feels inevitable, there are still a few twists and turns before we could live in a world that looks like a sci-fi movie. While the immediate future may stay the same for a few years, relatively unchanged, it's impossible not to see the crazy possibilities that are out there if we are properly able to utilize AI and robots. Why would someone need one? As much as people may be potentially frightened about AI robots given how much the media has told us to beware, there are some huge benefits to robots making it to the average consumer. For one, these robots could be of huge help to disabled people, and around-the-clock care at potentially a lesser price than hiring a professional nurse could lead to quality of life improvements. The same goes for the elderly or even children. These robots have the potential to keep people out of danger even at the workplace. More than that even, the robots could help problem solve, plan out your day, and even help with fun activities and thought exercises. There is every chance that these AI robots, at least at first, closely resemble our relationships with pets as companions in the house. Isn't that crazy? How would they affect jobs? How would AI robots affect the workforce? It's hard to anticipate, but a lot of the answer depends on cost and maintenance of the machines. There also is the ethical side of the question too. This one is a really tough question to answer since there's an argument to be made for both sides. It's possible that AI robots would take on the most dangerous jobs and help protect more human beings from trouble. It could be that the robots take all the hard labor work that other people don't want to do, and that the boom caused by it could produce better, higher-paying jobs that are now available. All of that could happen, and if it does, we would be looking at a second golden age for humans, where happiness and peace of mind become more common than ever. Or the robots could lead to lots of jobless people. There's no guarantee how things will go, but looking at recent history, if the robots do become affordable enough to enter into the workforce, they could be the reason people lose their jobs too. We have seen several reports of companies like Amazon, Tesla, Nike, and more breaking up unions and overworking their employees, all the while paying them minimum wage, so we know that it isn't out of the realm of possibility that people won't be very kind to their workers if the AI robots become cheaper to manage. If this happens though, it will affect mostly the lower and middle classes, resulting in a huge economic shift and potential crisis. You can start to see why some people may feel uneasy about the potential of a new labor force entering into an already competitive working environment. Are there any dangers? As of now, we are dealing simply with hypothetical situations. We can try and predict what would happen to the workforce as much as we want, but there are several other factors to whether these AI robots will advance the human race or slow our development, one of which being the dangers. Feeling powerless over something that lives in your house with you would be a scary proposition, but are there any other risks? It's hard to say theoretically, but how precise are these robots? And can they operate in the home or workplace for many hours a day without making any mistakes? Their speed and strength. Experts in the AI community believe that you would need to have a strobe light in order to even track the movement of a high-bandwidth AI robot, which is a little bit concerning to say the least. The strength of the AI will depend on the unit's function, but since they're made of metal, they will most likely be pretty durable too. This isn't inherently a bad thing, however, as robots working with rescue services such as park rangers or the fire department would be able to utilize those skills to save lives. Where will we go from here? If we accept that the AI robots are going to happen at some point, which feels like a safe bet, it's also fair to state that technology and its advancements will begin to pick up speed too. Many experts theorize that the invention of more advanced AI will be like a starter's pistol of sorts for humanity, and that we will begin advancing exponentially from there. This is because in many ways, AI is an infinitely growing resource that can grow and learn. Once we put everything in motion, there is not an easy way to slow things down, especially in our competitive world. How could this all slow us down? Since the Industrial Revolution in the 1900s, the world has been advancing rapidly, but there's a potential that the AI revolution could potentially slow us down. Here's why. The more that we advance in the world of AI, the less we may innovate in other facets of our lives, favoring instead the more profitable inevitable innovations caused by the robots. This could hurt our overall growth since our tunnel vision will cause stagnation. Some scientists even theorize that the advancement in AI will not advance the human race at all, but rather destroy it, as one huge factor still remains to be discussed. How will militaries use AI robots? A fear that humanity has had for hundreds of years is that if technology gets into the wrong hands, it could result in disaster. If AI robots are used as soldiers, it could be a very scary time for humanity and could be a modern version of the Cold War, but with robots instead of nukes. The threat of attack on cities with an AI force is something that scares even the most die-hard defender of AI, but is it warranted? It all depends on if we are responsible. It depends on if the world can act responsibly with this kind of technology. If the countries could work together, then we really could experience great advancements and maybe even journey to space or beyond if predictions of the boom from AI are correct. Ultimately, this theory asks that a few countries have some amount of AI robots, since otherwise a single country could hoard that power and shift the scales a ton. There are also some hidden factors that will determine whether or not we can get the most out of AI robotics. Let's take a look at some. Environmental concerns. Flat out, it doesn't matter what the potential of AI is if we aren't able to make them environmentally safe. The Earth would need to remain safe for humans to live for long enough in order to find a solution, and even if the AI revolution would happen relatively quickly, some scientists estimate that the Earth only has about 50 years or so left before it isn't safe for humans to live in anymore. Will we have the time needed to find a solution, whether that being fixing the planet or escaping it like Elon Musk has pushed for in previous years? Will the robots speed up the clock? Another thing to be wary of is how these robots will be fueled, and if they are biodegradable in the slightest. We are currently seeing how even the popular electric car Tesla's battery is causing problems because of how hard it is to safely dispose of. Will the robots be any different? The potential of the robots is so tempting and could open up so many doors for humanity, but the potential way that it could slow us down is if the robots will help contribute to pollutants in our environment. Part of the reason that the AI revolution and invention of AI robots is so exciting is that the hope is we can find better solutions for our future. But if the robots tip us over the edge and further hurt a planet hanging in the balance, is that a good idea? And with that, it wraps up the video. Thanks for watching!